Welcome to another episode of the PPSS Show. My name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, also best-selling author, and every single day I help others unlock potentials and guide them to succeed. Today on the show, we have another fascinating guest. On the show, we interviewed celebrities, entrepreneurs, business CEOs, multimillionaires, speakers, authors, real estate investors to find out their path to success, how they're able to overcome challenges and adversities, and of course, their keys to success. And today's guest is definitely somebody who can shine some light into that because he comes highly recommended by other guests that I've had on the show and other audiences. He says, "Hey, get this person on, get this person on." So I'm very, very happy and very excited to have him here today. He has over 17 plus years of experience in the real estate realm. He's done buy, fix, and flips, buy, develop, and sell. He's done commercial, multifamily, single family homes. He's done it all. So he's the expert of experts in real estate. And I'm very excited to ask him a few questions on that. He loves helping people put their money to hard work safely in syndicated value added commercial properties. He teaches them how to control their finances, teaches them how to invest, and of course, also how to analyze deals, which is so very, very important. So please welcome podcast host, author, real estate expert, Mr. Louis Salavarria.
Thank you, Fong. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here, and I'm very, very excited to have you here because you come highly recommended by lots of people that I know, and especially those in real estate. If you could please share with us that story, because I'm pretty sure you didn't come out of your mother's womb and goes, you know what, I'm going to invest in real estate. So what's that story? How did you get into real estate, and how did you make it so successful for yourself?
Sure. So let me tell you the story. I am Venezuelan. I was born in Venezuela, and back there, I had the option. I had the privilege actually to read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? As I'm sure a lot of your audience and a lot of people, and I'm sure you have probably read it too, right? And when I first read it, I thought this is interesting. I want to do something like this. But of course, reading to actually doing it takes time, right? It takes time to get that mindset. So that happened more than 20 years ago. I moved to Brazil because of my wife's work, and that's when I said to myself, "This is it." I don't know anybody here. I don't know the language. I don't know anything, but this is gonna be it. I'm gonna start right here because I don't know anybody either. So they don't know me, and if I fail, nothing done, right? No harm done. That's what I thought at the beginning. But then I started like applying myself, looking for a piece of land, looking for contractors. I started learning the language, of course, because we speak Spanish. I didn't speak Portuguese then. So it had this journey had a lot of stuff that I had to overcome, but I just didn't want to listen to that voice telling you you're not gonna make it, you're not gonna make it, you're not gonna make it, you don't know what you're doing. I didn't want to listen to that voice. That's just I don't know. That's just me. I never try to listen to that voice, because if I do, or if you do, or if anybody does, then they don't get anything done. And that's how I felt. So as I said, I found this piece of land. I built with this contractor 5 houses. I sold them. It took a while, of course, because I took up some learning, but I did get them sold. Then we moved to a big city in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, and there the land was actually more expensive than in the little town that I was. So I had to pivot again in real estate, but I had to pivot, and I bought apartments in Copacabana, which is one of the well-known beaches there, and I remodeled that apartment and I sold it, and I sold it really quickly. And I thought, this is interesting. So let's do this again. We started doing that, and we ended up doing, I don't know, in this 2 years that we were there, maybe 15 times, 14 or 15 times. We did the same all the time, like perfecting the same formula, to basically just fix and flip. At the time, I didn't even know this was called fix and flip. I only learned it later, the term, I mean, and so that was that part of the story. Then I also started learning about investing in property that was already being built, like it was new. So you could buy stuff at the beginning of its cycle, you know. And so we did that with several new developments. I would say we bought like 5 or 6 apartments that way. We made a good chunk of money, and when I say we, it's always my wife and I. And then we moved here to the US.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I really thought when I came here, I already had like 5 years experience buying and selling and building and all that in real estate. But then I got here, and it turns out there is a whole world of things, that I didn't even know existed, like options, like, foreclosures, like you could buy stuff out of like, or you could actually get to the people before they go to foreclosure, like tax liens and all this stuff. Like it was so new to me, and I was like, oh man, I hit the jackpot. So when I came here, I started learning about the stuff that I could be doing here in the US, right? And I was here always in Texas. I wasn't in Houston all the time. I was in a little town as well, the first 2 years, which is actually, it turned out really well for me because that's the 2 years that I had to learn basically about investing in the US.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't as pretty as everybody says on TV, all these like fix and flip shows. If spoiler alert, if you know about these shows, they're a lie. They just tell you that it's like really easy. You just find a property, you buy it for 150, you sell it for 200, so you make 50. That's not the case.
You mean when they renovate the place in 24 hours from beginning to end, it's not real? It's not true?
No, I mean, like, surprise, right? No, but not even. I mean, because sometimes they tell you like it took them, I don't know, 2 months, and you would see like the amount of work that has to be done. It takes a lot more than 2 months because you have the experience, right? And then they're talking as if, they know what they're talking about, and I think they do sometimes. It's just like the TV environment tells them if it's gonna take more than 3, 4, 6 months sometimes, then it's not really worth it because people have to work. They have to have the mentality on TV, of course. They have to have the mentality of hitting the jackpot, of like winning the lottery, And it's not that case. It's not the case at all.
Yeah.
You have to put in the work, So when you put in the work, amazing things happen, right? But that's what you and I know. That's not really what people that watch TV know. Mm-hmm. And that's why they only watch TV.
Exactly.
Because they don't want to do anything. They just want to watch TV, right? Now, if you want to watch TV and do something else, follow me, follow Fong, follow people that actually do it. That's what I would say, So anyway, so I got here. I started, I found a partner, to flip a house. We ended up losing that house. I ended up basically trusting the wrong person as a partner. That's also a lesson there. You have to choose your partners, wisely. Not just anybody that you meet at one of these, RIA events or like real estate association events. Is that's what the RIA stands for. And anyway, so I lost that money. That I gained experience of basically knowing what not to do after that. And then I carried on. I just carried on. I never stopped.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you've heard this before, or if you haven't, I'm going to tell you anyway. But I think the only way that you can actually lose money on real estate is if you just stop.
Right.
There are a lot of other avenues out there, like crypto, like stocks, like all that, which you can actually make a lot of money, but you can actually lose a lot of money as well. Mm-hmm. And once you lose it, that's it. Like basically you go bankrupt. Yep. You have to stop. Whereas here, there is always another opportunity, So if you don't stop, you're always going to get your money back and then some, So that's how I feel. That's what I've seen in real life, So that has taken me all this way into buying, single families, renovating them, selling them on as fix and flips, but then also buying and holding property as rentals. Mm-hmm. And then also pivoting from there to short-term rentals like Airbnb. So we also bought a bunch of Airbnbs or properties that we basically just held as Airbnbs. And now we're in the process of selling all of those small properties because we are now getting into bigger commercial properties, meaning, multifamily units or warehouses or storage or land and stuff like that. So that's basically my story. That's kind of where we are right now, what we're doing.
Well, first of all, I can tell you that I also have a library of purple books of real Robert Kiyosaki stuff, and I'm sure a lot of people else does. Like the whole shelf is purple. That very first deal that you did, how did you feel? Because I'm sure there was a lot of excitement, yet
Sure.
there's probably some doubt as well, and you have to overcome that voice that you said, "Don't do this, don't do this." How did you
Sure.
overcome that doubt? Like I know it's one thing to say, "Hey, I just don't listen to it," but it's another thing to really follow through and not listen to that voice. So how did you feel during that first deal?
Yeah, what you're saying is right. I mean, I guess sometimes you do feel that voice of not being quite, right. Like you don't really know what you're doing. But in my case, for example, I didn't accept that. I didn't accept any voice telling me, because I said, I came here, I did this. I want to show those people that told me that I couldn't do it, or that thought I was crazy, or that thought that whatever, like my wife married somebody that didn't know what he was doing, or whatever, all these thoughts, they came into my mind. I just didn't want to listen to them. It was painful sometimes, for sure, but I didn't want to listen to them anyway, because I thought, I just want to get to the other side of that uncomfortable place, or painful place that I was in. So that's basically, I convinced myself, is what I mean. I convinced myself that I had to be on the other side, because I didn't want to lose. I didn't want to, I didn't want to accept that.
Is there a deal or a case or a learning experience that you've gone through where it was the most painful experience you've ever had, that you almost go, okay, maybe other people are right, maybe I shouldn't have done this, but you still power through? Like, give us some context as the most challenging one that you faced.
Well, 2 years ago, just in the middle of COVID, we bought a property right here in Houston. It's 17 units. So it's a multifamily, right? And this actually was our first multifamily property.
Oh wow!
And when I bought it, I just took the plunge. I said, you know what? Let's just do this. I got a bunch of investors. These were my friends. These are actually my friends, and people that know me. They trust me, and they wanted to invest with us, right? So we did that. And after closing, we found like a bunch of problems. We had a flash freeze that actually broke a lot of pipes. A lot of people had to be like relocated. Basically, I would say most of these people, like more than 90% of these people that were living at the complex, were in pain. And because we were coming out of COVID, they supposedly had like agreements, like forbearance or whatever, and they had all this money coming in from agencies, like charity agencies and people that wanted to help, right? It turned out that this was a fraud, so it wasn't really true.
Oh wow!
So I had to cover all those costs, all those costs of basically just paying the mortgage every month, right? And paying for people to move out and be in hotels, because it was like, the pipes were frozen basically, and no money was coming in.
Wow!
And this happened for like a period of months. So it really was a test to basically still be here, and a test of resilience, and a test of, this is what I need to do. I need to just have a cold mind, be perseverant enough, and rely on my wife as well, because you definitely need somebody there to help you, even if it's just to tell you that it's going to be okay. And right now, I must say, like 2 years later, Even though we've had, we've encountered, I don't know how many problems that you can think of, and we had them twice, So, but right now I can tell you that everything's turned out to be okay. Everything's better. Even the inspectors that from the city that know this property or that knew the property before we got it, they came recently and they said, I mean, I don't know what you're doing to the property. I don't know who manages this property, but I can say as an inspector, because we've been here before, that this is completely different to what it was before.
Mhm.
So just hearing that from a person that knew the property before, that's really something that really gets to my heart. It's like, okay, finally, I'm getting, to the place that I want to be in, especially in that property, And again, that doesn't deter me. It's learned, I guess I've learned to just go with it and just follow through.
Mhm.
It's been difficult for sure, for sure. When you get that call from either your property manager or one of the tenants saying, we had this, we have that, we have this issue, and these are not like normal issues. It's like, oh man, what now? What do I have to do? What do I have to deal with?
Mhm.
But then again, it's like now when everything's like going forward, it's like riding a bike. At the beginning, you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall a few times. You're gonna scrape your knees, your elbows, or whatever. But you just get up again, stand up, ride that bike again, and by the end, you're gonna be like, oh, I can do it now.
Mhm.
And now I can do it. Like this, like that, or even faster. So you're losing the fear of that moment, and at the same time you're actually moving towards something bigger.
Mhm.
And that's how I feel right now.
Well, awesome. And of course, when you go above and beyond to do the right thing, get the property back in order, take care of all your tenants, you're building even stronger relationships with the tenants, with the building inspectors, and then next time the building inspectors are okay. I've worked with this person before. I know he's got a handle. Even your tenants probably very, very happy with being at their properties because knowing that you're going to take care of them.
Yeah,
And they'll probably be like tenants for life or coming back to you again and again with referrals with their family and friends to come see if there's other rental properties from you, right?
yeah. And also, you know what, Fong, is something to do with, like, for my wife and I, it's something to do with integrity.
Mm-hmm.
It's always about integrity. When I mentioned that issue with that partner that in the end, he wasn't the best to be partnering with, that issue was just because he didn't have integrity.
Right.
Right. And now I feel like I know, okay, this is the point, the key point that you have to have is integrity, right? And a lot of people talk about it, but they don't necessarily show that they have integrity.
Mm-hmm.
you know and integrity for me is just doing the right thing all the time. And it doesn't matter if people are watching you or people are not watching you. It could be just by yourself. I mean, you could be by yourself. You just have to think about what's right and what's not right and do the right thing. you know and if you do that all the time, people that may want to work with you, they're going to see that too, because they see that. So as you said, even the tenants see that. So when you go to a tenant and say like, hey, you're not really doing your part, right? I mean, if you have to, move out or whatever, just tell me so I know, right? And it's also like goes both ways, right? So if you want to do something for me, or if you want me to do something for you, that can be arranged too,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't want you to go through something that you don't have to. For me, that's just stupid. Like, people that don't attend to the tenants' needs, in the end they suffer as landlords,
Right.
because people are not really going to take care of anything. If they don't care, like, if you can come or send somebody to help you with the AC if it's too hot, for example, and the AC is not working, and if you don't feel that, like, the managers or the property managers or even the actual owners, they don't care, why would you pay anything? Why would you make the effort of at least taking care of that unit?
Right.
They don't really care, right? So if they see that you care about them, they will at least in return care about you and the property itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've seen as well. So you have to make those connections and those partners, I guess, even if they are just tenants, right?
Right.
They're paying, so they're customers as well.
Exactly. Now, your attitude and the way you deal with your tenants or work with your tenants also reflect on how you work with your partners and your money partners and whoever is investing with you, because they will now know that, okay, you're a person who will take care of them. You're the person that will do the right thing. The deal may or may not end up as great as you might think to begin with, but you know for sure that you're not cheating somebody else out,
Yes.
or you're not making somebody else feel bad. You'll do everything that you can to make sure that everybody who's investing with you is being taken care of no matter what. So that's a great thing to see, because there's not everybody out there is doing that. They might go, well, too bad, your loss, you invested, you know the risks. Too bad. Find something else, right? When it comes to your career here, you talked about, okay, I don't accept that I can't do this, or somebody's telling me that can't be done, and you keep on pushing forward. Did you also have somebody that you could bounce ideas off of to reassure you that yes, this is the right way of doing it, yes, this is possible, and just kind of like a mentor, coach, guide, or somebody that you could bounce stuff off of?
Yeah, definitely. I've had several along the way for different things, for specific techniques, and also like business in general, and real estate itself. So, and I've realized also that like before having those people in my life, I realized that you're paying either way, right? You're paying for the experience, or you're paying for a mentor. So, and I've seen that it's always better to pay for the mentor, because the mentor is going to tell you, you know, this is going to happen. If you do this, you do that, this is going to happen. If you don't do this, then something else is going to happen, right? Whereas before, I thought of myself as like, you know, I can do it myself. You know, I can learn and do it myself. That way I'm going to save that money that I'm going to pay the mentor, right? But in the end, I was always paying. Like that deal with the partner, or the partnership going bad, I lost like $10,000 there. And for an investment of like real estate size, 10,000 may not be a lot, but it's still 10,000. It's not nothing, you know. And if you think about a lot of mentors that you can have, that you pay, you know, 10 to 15,000 for those mentorships, I basically paid for a mistake, just one mistake. I paid basically the mentorship fee that I could have paid another person to give me all the feedback before I actually went into that, and actually saved me the 10,000.
And the
So
emotional pain,
that's how it works, right?
and all the pain that you went through while that was happening.
But of course, like,
was
exactly,
there
yeah.
was there a one thing that a coach or a mentor has helped you out with? You go, oh wow, I never thought of that, or wow, that would have saved me a lot.
Well, there is not really one thing, because I can think of many things actually. But one thing that I've realized is that you have to put into practice what you learn, right? And like as soon as you learn something, you have to teach it, to do that cementing in your mind, you know. Because if you learn something and you don't put it in practice, you're gonna forget it. I mean, it may seem really good actually at the beginning, and you're gonna be like all excited if you go to, like, you know, one of these 2-day events or whatever, and you're gonna take a lot of notes. But most of the people that go to these events, they just put the notes away and they don't even read them, you know. So they don't ever put them to work, or like, you know, to action, you know. Whereas if you just take one and put whatever into action at least once, then you're actually progressing. You don't really feel it, because you're actually making these really small changes in direction, like 1 or 2 degrees, right? But in the long run, 1 or 2 degrees may take you to your goal, or it may take you, like, you know, thousands of miles away, if you're not really like focused on that big goal, you know. And that's really one of the key things that I've learned from one of my business coaches. His name is Casey Eberhardt. One thing that I've learned from JT Fox, which is another business real estate type of mentor that I have, is that how you do one thing is how you do everything, you know. And it may seem trivial, but it's not.
Mm.
You know, I've taught that passage to my kids, and even now my 15-year-old, he's like, now he's like thinking about like business wise, right? But he's also thinking about how you do one thing is how you do everything. So now he's helping more in the house, like with chores, like with everything, like laundry, whatever, because he sees that, he understands that how you do anything is how you do everything.
Right.
So that little passage is really changing how we do things here at in my household.
Mm.
You
Now,
know,
since you
yeah.
mentioned kids and getting them involved, how early are you gonna get them involved in real estate and all that kind of stuff, or are they already in it?
Oh, they're already in. They're already in. So as I
So,
told you,
so when they go to school to do school projects, they talk about the deals that they're doing, eh?
no, but here's the thing, right? I mean, like they have learned from me since the beginning, right? Every time that I can, I always try to teach them something about anything. It doesn't have to be real estate. It's always kind of geared towards that because that's what I'm doing. But I want them to understand that if first of all, life is just a game. You just have to play it, whether you want to or not. It's a game, and whoever doesn't want to play is going to remain in the sidelines. But the game is being played anyway. It's not like, I don't believe it's a game, so I'm not going to play. It is a game, always a game, and you have to play. If you don't participate, the game is still happening. Right? So I tell them that, and I've taught them that since the beginning. Now the difference right now is that I'm taking my older child, who's 15, as I said, to these events as well.
Yep.
So he's now getting to have that exposure to other people, not only me,
Right,
but other people as well. So, and I told the other two, who are 13 and 9, I told them that I'm going to take them too. As soon as they're a bit older, I'm going to take them too, because I think that it benefits them even more than me. Because now I'm getting to a point where I get like a few things here and there, but for them it's just a shower of everything, right? Like, like meeting people, like understanding the concept and being exposed to those things at such an early age. I mean, I feel like, if it was me during that at the same age, I would have been something different right now. So I feel like they could be benefiting from that too.
One day in the future, you'll be working on this deal, and then one of your sons will come up to you and go, how come you don't do this? And you're like, oh man, you're right. And that's when
I've experienced that. Yeah, I've experienced that already.
Oh, wow.
And it's like little things, right? Like little things that me being older, like sometimes that the technology is like, for me, it's like already lagging behind, So I was watching this class basically that one of my mentors gave about YouTube, right? And I was like, I incorporated my son to listen to that class. And then he suggested something that not even my coach was actually doing. And he said, like, well, why don't you do this? Like exactly what you said, right? And what I was like, oh yeah, like, oh, that really makes sense, So I actually took note. I told my coach, and he was like, yeah, that really makes sense, So it's happening already.
In which you look at your child, he goes, see, that's what I taught you, to think outside of the box, blah blah blah. It's a lesson. I'm testing you.
Right.
You've been helping a lot of people become successful in investing in real estate. You mentioned that the game's out there, it's happening right now, but some people aren't tuned into that frequency, aren't tuned into that game, and don't know the rules or whatnot. What's the most common factor that you've found that most people are struggling with to get into this game?
You know what? One thing that not many people talk about in the real estate world is mindset. What they're lacking most of the time is just mindset. Because every time that I talk to some people, the ones that are really like ready to go, the ones that actually take action, they have gone through that mindset change on their own, right? and they see that it's possible for them. They don't know how or even where to begin, but they know that they can do something, right? Whereas other people that I've spoken with, they don't feel the same. They feel like, well, yeah, that's good for you. That's good for you. Like you're up there, like really high. I'm like really here, like I don't know if that's for me, And even if they do, they think that it's going to be for somebody else. But that's maybe for my brother. My brother would really love that, not me, because I know that I couldn't do it. So I hear this all the time. So I would say something that really sticks out as a quality, and not a good one actually, is basically the lack of believing in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that really sticks out when you see those people that maybe they want to do something better for their lives and for their kids and for their family and all that, but they feel like they're not, they don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they feel.
And that also fits with a lot of people who goes, well, I don't have money to do so. Well, that's a mindset.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right? The mindset goes, once you don't have enough money or don't have money, you close that whole avenue out, close that whole opportunity out. And when you have the proper mindset, then you're able to find out how you can do it. And that goes right into what you were talking about, believing in yourself, being able to do stuff like that. Now, we also talked about relationships, tenants relationships, the relationships with you and your partners. When it comes to building relationships within your business, not necessarily in the real estate area, but expanding your career, expanding your business, how have you strategically built strong relationships? What's some of the most key things that you do so that you have good partnerships going on or good connections moving forward and maintaining those relationships for a long period of time?
Sure. Let me answer it like this. You have to do everything with purpose. So you have to have the clarity to get that purpose. And what I mean is that if you know where you're going, if you know that big goal, you know where to look for people, and you know the right and the specific people that you want as part of your team. So when I first started, I thought, okay, what do I need to do to get more properties under contract, for example, if I want to buy them as an investor? So I thought, okay, at the beginning, I thought I would, I could use a realtor. Okay, so I made a point to find a realtor that knew about the specific area that I was looking to invest in. So if you do that, that's just an example. But if you do that, then you're looking for that person, that specific person, right? So you're like enhancing your senses to find that person.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you go out to one of these RIAs or one of these events or one of these groups, you're always going to be like, hey, so I'm looking for, I'm looking to do this, right? So I need a realtor that knows about this area. And can you recommend anybody? Do you know anybody? People that know about the area that are going to say, that's me, or they're going to say, I know such and such, or I know this person or whatever. So that's how you approach it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be always purposeful, like do it with purpose, purposeful. And if you do that, at some point you're going to be like, I have all the little pieces in place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I feel. When you do everything with purpose, you're able to find the little pieces that make up the whole of that puzzle that is investing in real estate.
Right. Now, I know you work with a lot of different people from different backgrounds, different financial capabilities and whatnot, whether they're partner up with you on something very engaging where they're part of it, or they're silent partners working in the background and whatnot. What are you looking for right now? What's the best way for people to work with you, learn from you? What are some of the things that you offer?
So right now, I decided to teach people about financial literacy, I would say, and financial education. And I know that like Spanish speaking people, they're really being underserved in that area. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I have a podcast, I have a webinar. They're both in Spanish because I want to serve that community and I want to help them more, because I feel even if they live here, even if they speak English, I think they feel more comfortable speaking in their mother tongue than in English, right? Sometimes. So I have a bunch of friends and I have a bunch of investors that also speak only English. And there is always a communication that we can follow there. If you can just follow me or connect with me, I'm going to give you the link to do that. It's Luis Salavarria, as you know, my name and last name all together, .com/links. So if you go to luisalavaria.com/links, you can find me there. You can connect with me, and it doesn't have to be in Spanish or in English. It could be any. Of course, Spanish or English is better, but it could also be Portuguese, for example, because I know Portuguese now since I was in Brazil, right? So if you wanna connect with me, just go there and just connect with me. I have a bunch of channels there. There are also links for a book that I wrote. And, links for like free stuff. So there is a bunch of links there that you can actually benefit from if you just go there. luisalavaria.com/links. That's all I wanted to say, because I mean, you gave me that opportunity to share, right? But like, if you want to just carry on with the questions, I can answer, whatever.
No, it's all good. My last formal question for you is this. You're being put on the world stage, and you have a few minutes to share with the world one message that you want everybody to remember Louis for. What's that one message?
Anything can be done if you apply yourself. And it may seem, again, trivial, but it's completely true. Mm-hmm. Anything can be done. I mean, I'm a true testament of that. When I first went to Brazil, I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any family there. I didn't have any friends there. I didn't even know the language, right? And I was there just because of my wife's work. So I wasn't there because I knew somebody or I had an infrastructure or anything, So I said to myself, I put that goal there that I was going to be an investor, a real estate investor, even though I didn't have anybody there. I didn't have infrastructure. I didn't have any friends. I didn't know the language. I didn't know anything. So even though, or in spite of those things, I still went ahead and did it. So anything can be done if you just put your mind to it. Mm-hmm. That's what I would say. Just put your mind to it and just take one step. It doesn't have to go from like 0 to 100. Just take one step, 0 to 1, just one step. Mm-hmm. That's what I would say.
Well said, and good words to live by, because that's very, very important. Lots of people misinterpret that information, don't go out there and they take that step, and they just kind of become stagnant. So very, very important message there. Thank you very much. Now, before I let you go, I got 5 quick rapid fire questions. Give me the first thing that comes to mind.
Sure.
You're stranded on a deserted island, one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence.
Coconut.
Pardon?
Coconut.
Oh, coconut. Hey, it's already there. How convenient.
Exactly.
What's one sport that you wish that you could win the top of top, gold medal, championship in?
Swimming.
Hollywood calls and says, "Hey, Louis, we love your story. It's such a great inspirational story. We'd like to do a biopic of you. Who would you cast to play you?"
Oh man, who would I cast? You got me there. Matt Damon.
Matt Damon shows up at your door and, "Hey, Louis, buddy, I got casted to play you. Let's have some fun. Let's go out and spend some time together." And you say, "Hey, no worries. I got this night planned out perfectly." What does that night look like?
I'm gonna cook or grill for them. I'm gonna cook for him and probably his family, and we're gonna share, while we have dinner. That's what it looks like.
What's that special grill item that you're cooking?
Oh, picanha, something that I learned in Brazil.
Very nice. Last question. Give me a number from 1 to 4.
3.
1, 2, 3. So if you had to use sharks,
okay,
as a metaphor for success, how is success like sharks?
Sharks are always moving to get their prey. You gotta move.
Nicely done. Thank you very much. That is how success is like sharks. Any last words that you would like to share?
Not really, but I want to say something to you, Fong. Thank you for having me here. It's really, it's been a pleasure to be here, and also it's been an interesting one. I've never had any like the rapid questions and all that. I've never had that before, and I enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Sure.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Everybody else, make sure you connect with Louis, find his YouTube channel, connect with him. I'll put the link on the post here. And obviously, he's a person who knows his stuff when it comes to real estate. If you want to learn from him, connect with him. And obviously, a person who is very, very honest, full of integrity, somebody you definitely want to check out. So until next time, his name is Louis. My name is Fong. Today is the day to lock your peak potential. We'll see you later.
Thank you.